Hi everyone, Pauline Harley here. I am pleased to bring you our Tuesday Talks series. Today I am with Olivia Swift, a lovely lady who's recently been introduced to me to another mutual connection. As you know, myself and Gay Moore are doing these Tuesday Talk series, just speaking to the humans behind their business. And like how we show up human in our business. It's very, very important for us to allow ourselves that space to be human and challenge the challenges we face on a daily basis. So I'm going to shut up now because, again, as everybody knows, I have a tendency to ramble on. Olivia, I'm thrilled to have you here with me this morning. An absolute pleasure, and again, grateful for you showing up human and being brave enough to come on here and talk to me. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business this morning.
So my business, as you said, is Lotus Maternity, which is a range of nursing wear for women to help them breastfeed in public with confidence and complete discretion. That's it in a nutshell. That's my strap line for you there. But my background is midwifery. So I used to be a midwife, and it was from my midwifery practice that I went on to then setting up and building my business and creating the products and the brand just from an idea that I had when I had women constantly presenting at clinic with their apprehensions about breastfeeding in public and why they were so concerned, and a lot of them didn't sustain with breastfeeding because of that uncomfortableness that they felt when they were breastfeeding in public. And I've always been like a massive breastfeeding advocate. I still am now. I still volunteer my time and help at all the breastfeeding clinics and the local groups. That was always my favourite thing to do as a midwife, help women with breastfeeding. Don't ask me why, you always like different aspects of the job, don't you? And I was really passionate about supporting women to breastfeed. So I thought, what can I do else can I do to help? And I sort of had a light bulb moment one evening when I was still a student. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah, about a design of a top. And I just sort of kept it on the back burner from there, really, until I was in a position that I could actually start developing the products and creating the business.
Brilliant. That's a great little niche, though, and a great light bulb moment that you had, because there's definitely a need there. And definitely something that, I had a brief look at some of the products there yesterday evening before I had come on to speak to you, and you are wearing one of them there, aren't you, Olivia? They're beautiful. I highly recommend that people go on because they're kind of different. Now, it's a long time since I had a baby, okay, so I'm well out of the loop when it comes to feeding babies and breastfeeding, but they're lovely. They're really different, and they're really kind of there's a glamourous-y feel to them and stuff, as I said, women's confidence, I suppose, after having a baby is something that, we've all been there. We've had the days where we're like, oh, to put on something if we're breastfeeding and think, okay, this is nice, I feel a bit better about this. You're not just going around like, ooh. But so absolutely, definitely, as I said, you identified kind of in your area a gap there that you could fill.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I see so many women out and about, and they're feeding with like these aprons that you can sort of buy now.
Right.
So they're really sort of restrictive because they sort of tie around your neck and they're quite thick and heavy.
Yeah.
So and I see women feeding in public with them all the time. And I think, well, there's obviously a reason why you're, wanting to cover up there, but why would you do it with a sort of apron that's really thick and heavy, and it sort of restricts the view of your baby? Could potentially cause a bit of overheating, because a baby, when it's breastfeeding, is like a hot water bottle anyway, let alone with quite a thick sort of cover over it. And so at least with my designs, nobody actually knows it's a breastfeeding top. Nobody would look and think, oh, that must be a nursing top that woman's got on. And once you finish feeding, you can carry on your day as normal, and you don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's I think for me, like, just listening to you, that's really important and really unique in the product itself, and just listening to you, like, to think that this business stemmed from just your, being a midwife and your studies is brilliant, because you've created something brilliant, in my opinion, out of it, and again, I speak to people a lot about their why in their business and their values piece behind their business. Like, what is your value piece behind the business, and why did you set it up? So could you give us some insight into that, maybe?
Yeah, my main reason was to help women breastfeed. That was essentially why I wanted to start the product off. And I, when you have your own business, you have to really believe in what you're doing. And I, hands down, I know I'm biased, but think that the product is fantastic and the product is great.
It is.
Not only, is it a nice sort of fashionable garment, but it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And I was at like a breastfeeding group the other week, and I've seen this lady at the hospital. So I go once a month to the QMC, which is the hospital in Nottingham where I trained, and they have like a breastfeeding cafe there. It's not really a cafe. You don't have like food or drinks. It's just called that. And you come, and we support any women that are having troubles with breastfeeding. And I met this lady at a show that I'd done when I was showcasing the tops while she was still pregnant. And I said, I know you. She said, yeah, I met you at the so-and-so, show. And I was like, oh, yeah, brilliant. And I was like, so what's going on? And I was helping her with her baby. She was having problems with her supply, basically. And then I said, right, I also volunteer at this other sort of local community group. I go when I can, but if you want, I'll go tomorrow and we can look again at the feeding. And so I went and, helped her with her breastfeeding. And she did a really good feed, and everything was so much better from the day before. And, when you just feel sort of humbled inside, and I was like, I get the privilege of doing that as a day-to-day thing in what I'm working as, because I'm not necessarily helping women to breastfeed every day physically, but I'm doing it all the time through my pieces of clothing and through my brand. And it makes me feel good. It's nice to do something that...
You can see how you light up just when you talk about it. It's really evident in your energy. And, as you say, it's so humbling. Like, it really is, to be able to kind of do that for somebody else, and to know that, that they're taking away benefit, in what you're providing. So I think that's really, it's a core piece, isn't it? It's like one of the core values, like in our business, like to be able to provide a service that we can say, okay, we did that well, and somebody really benefited from it. And it's a really, really, I'm grateful as a business owner to be able to do what I do, and it's great to see other business owners just literally light up when they talk about what they do, because I think it's a key part to keeping the ball rolling and building momentum, isn't it, in your business, to keep going, especially on the days when the challenge show up.
Definitely.
The hard days, and we get hard days, but we're human enough to know that they're coming our way. But when you can reflect on those moments, and I think they just ground you, don't they?
They do. And I've had, as any person having their own business knows, there are points where you think, oh my God, especially when you're still a startup and it's really hard. I am still a startup. I'm not an established brand, so to speak. But you have days where you're like, I know I've got a great brand, I know I've got a great product, but trying to get it out there is so difficult. And especially if you've not got masses of budget, which I don't, to really sort of get it in the public eye. And I think, all this time, is it really worth it? Am I going to make it? And then a woman will leave me a review on the tops. Like I had one recently, and I just burst out crying because she was saying how like my tops had helped her to breastfeed, and that that she couldn't do it well in public beforehand, but she's like, now through a Lotus Maternity top I can go out and feel confident in what I'm doing and look great, and thank you so much for that. And I was just like, this is what I'm doing it for, like, and all those sort of hard times and those hours you put in thinking, am I getting anywhere, and then it just takes someone to say, through what you've done and what you've created, I was able to do this. And it makes me
Helps you break through the glass ceilings, doesn't it? You know, because some days we can be just smacking our heads off glass ceilings, and then somebody just goes and does that, without, you know, without even asking them to. And that's even like, it's like, oh wow, like that's you know, building momentum alone, like, and building our confidence as business owners. And I hear what you're saying there, when you're pretty much on your own and you're a one woman band. PC here, one human show, that you are, you know, you're carrying a lot of baggage, and, you know, we're trying to juggle balls and, you know, try and not drop them effectively. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that piece as well as a business owner, that, you know, you just use what you have and do what you can at the present moment in time. That's something I struggle with, because I try to juggle too many balls sometimes, and some of them start dropping, and then I just have to take a complete break from it. But yeah, as you say, with funding and budgets and stuff, but again, yeah, using what you have and just doing what you can is kind of something that builds your confidence as well, because when you say, okay, well, I did this today and I only had limited resources, yeah, win-win, you know, when you can put it all together. So kudos to you on that. And can I just ask you as well, just what do you find is the biggest challenge for you being human in your business?
When you mean being human, how do you mean? Like, what is the biggest challenge emotionally, or?
Yeah, overall, like you as a whole person, I suppose, in your business, like what do you find is the biggest challenge for you? Just acknowledging that, you know, there's days where you either need to take a step back, or you need to readjust, or you just need to switch off from the noise, because there's a lot of noise online and LinkedIn, social media and stuff as to what you should and shouldn't do in business. And I think sometimes we just have to disconnect and trust our own head and heart in that regard as business owners. So what would you say shows up for you in that regard?
There's various things. So sometimes I get a lot of frustration because I'm a massive perfectionist.
Oh, are we all?
And I want to do everything to like a really high standard, and sometimes people will say, just get it out there, like it doesn't matter if it's not quite right to start with, you've just got to get it out there. And often, you know, I'm pushing deadlines back because I'm like, no, it's not quite how I want it. Say, for example, I'm writing this breastfeeding guide at the moment to put on my sort of blog and news article on my site. And they're like, it doesn't matter how it looks, you know, it's the content at the end of the day. And I said, yeah, but, you know, I'm sort of premium brand. I want everything to look on spec and on brand. And they said, yes, but you should get it out now, because then it's there for people to access and you could tweak it along the way. But I'm very much like, no, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect before it goes into the reply. So that's one thing I struggle with. Also, obviously, because my background, I know for lots of people it's not either, but obviously my background's midwifery and it's not business or economics or anything like that. So I think particularly in my first year, I mean, I'm just out of it now, but I found it very difficult understanding all aspects of my business in terms of not the breastfeeding and helping women to breastfeeding side, because I knew all of that. It was the setting up a business and, you know, like registering as a company and all the things that go with the day-to-day running of a business, doing all your accounting and even just designing the products. So obviously I would never call myself a fashion designer, even though my brand is fashion products. I would always say no, like I'm more of an entrepreneur. You know, I had an idea for a product and then brand, rather than I'm sitting there sketching, you know, designs for new clothes, because I'm not. It was very much a vision. This is what I want, and, you know, took that to my manufacturers in Nottingham. But when I first went, I sort of saw a tailor to start with before I'd found the women that make my clothes for me. And they said, so have you got the patterns, you know, do you know what you're looking for? And I went, oh no, I just want them to be plain, just plain chiffon, not patterned. And they said, no, like patterns in textiles is like the cutout patterns of the card.
Bring me back to sewing when I was younger in school, which I hate.
I started laughing and they were laughing. And like, obviously this is not my background. So yeah, I think that was always a bit hard having to learn. I mean, I'm still learning now. You'll never stop learning, but as I say, a lot of stuff I want to be like an expert at it all, but I can't be. And you want to be able to do everything. I think sometimes it's hard to let go a little bit and let other people take on things for you, because actually
we're so emotionally attached to our businesses, like they are our babies effectively. But sometimes like I know in my case, having different mentors and stuff, having people who aren't emotionally attached to my business can sometimes come in and just throw a different bit of perspective my way, which is hugely valuable. And peers as well, you know, and all of us here on LinkedIn and in our different networks, there's always somebody out there who can give you a little snippet of gold that you may not have seen, because you're so caught up in the day-to-day running and the emotional piece of being a business owner. And I think that's okay, you know, that's okay. Knowing what to let go of control of and what to take back is something I have to learn. Because again, the whole juggling the loads of different balls and letting some drop. But as you say, there are patience as well. Like, we have to be really patient with ourselves, because I could kick myself up and down the road all day with frustration from the lack of patience. But
and also I think that's frustration from the lack of time, because you never it's never ending, especially when you're like as I say, a one-woman band. Your tasks are endless, as they are for any business, but at least if you know you have a team, you can at least say, okay, well,
delegate.
can you do this for me, can you do that? But as I say, when you're first starting out and it's just you, there aren't enough hours in the day. And I went to the Great British Business Show last week at the Excel, and I was talking to a fashion brand, and again, somebody that just built his brand from scratch. And I said, I want to sort of work on gaining more of a following on social media. And he says, you just need to be on it all of the time. He's like, I'm on my phone 20. He's a lot younger than I am. But I was like, you know, sometimes, and I understand why people say, yes, that's the best way to do it. And obviously it's cheaper to promote yourself through social media. I don't want to spend my entire life and my entire day just on the phone on social media. And even other friends that I know or family that have got big followings on social media and are sort of getting awareness about whatever they're doing, you just need to constantly be on it. And I'm like, but I can't constantly be on my phone on social media when I've got
that. I feel, as you say, if you're constantly on it,
it's a bit
somebody
annoying.
else has to suffer in that regard if you fall into that trap. And I would spend a fair amount of time building my network on LinkedIn, but I have allocated slots during the day where I just go in 40 minutes in the morning, 40 minutes in the evening. If I'm on the bus, okay, or if I'm in a cafe waiting on a meeting, I might just jump in, and if I can contribute or put something up. I think a lot of people, and especially in the business world, can be deluded by what gurus say is the right and wrong thing to do in influencer marketing and brand awareness. At the end of the day, you'll know this, what works for your brand. I am not a believer that social media alone builds a business, under no circumstances. I think there's a lot of groundwork that has to go in behind the scenes. And that's, again, the human connection piece, connecting with real live humans on the ground, and getting out there and meeting people. And again, networking is great as long as you're doing it in the right places, and building connections with people that get your vision and values in your business. And not everybody gets us, that's fine, but the ones who do will always connect. And nobody can build our brand for us effectively from networking apart from ourselves. We have to do that. But I think you're right. I think there's a lot of noise out there, and sometimes we have to just turn the volume down.
You can get conflicting advice, can't you? And that's why, as you say, you have to do what's right for you. Because I have a few, obviously, different business mentors, and when I was saying, speaking to this guy, as I say, at the Excel about his brand, he said, yeah, to be posting X amount of times a day. But then, I went to a women in business event the other night. It was all about sort of work like a woman and like female empowerment in business. Mary Portis was doing a webinar. I don't know if you watched it.
No.
It was all about that, basically, women in business, essentially. And the lady that was chairing it, she said, you don't just post for the sake of posting. What you should do is putting, thoughtful content up, that's well thought out and good, and that people want to see and engage with and read, rather than just posting for the sake of, well, I need to post every day. And so it's difficult, isn't it? Because you're like, well, who should I believe? Because this person has put their brand way, and then other people say, no, that's not the way to go. And I think especially when you're sort of learning, that I never really had Instagram before I had my own business, and I don't have it now personally because I don't want to spend my life on social media.
And that's your choice. And you know what's best for you. And I would get a fair few business owners over here, even in my industry, the professional training and coaching industry, and they're trying to figure out who will they write for, what will they write, how will they put it together. And I'm saying, the core piece that I say on that is, if you think about the people that you've really worked well with in the past, write for those people, because they're the people who get you. There's no point in trying to write for everyone or create content in your business for everyone. The people that connect with the vision and values behind the business and the human will just get you. And that's a key piece I would say to people, is write for the people that you want to connect with. Put your content together for them. And even think about the people, as I said, I know in my industry that I've worked really well for and with and partnered with, what type of values did they have? What was it that they connected with in me? And then I kind of create content around that, So yeah, it's interesting that we do need to kind of acknowledge that we've got to connect our head and our heart on that and do what works for our business, because everyone out there will have an opinion as to tell you what's right and what's wrong and what you're doing. And look,
then it's especially for me, because I am doing something that's quite niche. Obviously, I can't sell my products to everyone. I have to sell them within a certain time frame. And yes, that might have worked for you in your business, but actually I'm not selling something that's generic. And I'm and also because I'm manufacturing in the UK, which is quite rare in the fashion industry, I have a sort of higher price point. So again, that makes me a bit more niche and makes my sort of target market that little bit more harder to reach, because not everybody wants to pay necessarily a premium price for clothing when they can get it dirt cheap on the high street. So then those,
and that's fine. They're not your clients then, they're just not.
I just mean, when they're trying to talk to me about my business, I just think of it, you're not doing something as niche as I am, so I can't necessarily apply those principles because it doesn't really work for what I'm trying to do.
It's great to hear you say that.
But
it is great to hear you say that, because just hearing you say that piece, you can see how grounded you are in what it is you're doing and how much you believe in it. So I think that's really, really important, because sometimes we can feel the urge to again move away from that, and maybe with our pricing and different things, so it's really, really important to stay grounded in that. So that's great to hear. Listen, just about the whole fashion industry and stuff, I did come across a post on your LinkedIn last week where you got to meet a famous UK fashion designer. So tell us a little bit about that.
So obviously I went to University of Nottingham, that's where I did my midwifery training, and I'm part of the Ingenuity Lab there. So it's like a special sort of centre for business and entrepreneurship. And they put an email out saying, come to work from the lab, because it's like a working space, but I work from home, so I never really actually go to use the space. But they said we've got some VIPs coming, and one of them was Sir Paul Smith. So I was like, right, I'm
in there. I'm there.
Meeting him, whatever it takes. There is no way he's getting out that door without speaking to me, because I wanted to ask him a question. Basically, I wanted to ask him how I could sort of promote my brand and get brand exposure, but on a small budget, because I can't afford to pay masses on advertising and things, compete with established brands that have got budget for to pay for Google ads and be on the first page of some search results and whatever. So I wanted to see if he had any golden nuggets of information about how to do that. So I put my jazziest shirt on. I'd just bought it actually from the charity shop at the weekend. It was like a made in the UK satin blouse, and it had all these colours on, a bit like what Austin Powers would wear.
Wow.
Very jazzy, very like in your face. I thought Paul Smith would appreciate this.
Good woman.
I went, and he was being interviewed by the press because all the press were there at the lab. And I said to my friend, "Oh, so what's he been doing then?" And she said, "Oh, he's just walked around. He hasn't really spoken to anyone, and now they're being interviewed." And then Knots TV was setting up a little tripod just at the side of me. So I said to them, "Oh, are you going to be interviewing Paul Smith here?" And they said, yeah. So right, I'm going to position myself then between where his interview is and the exit door. So I sort of like sat down at this table, and then whilst he was being interviewed, everybody was like pretending to be working, and were a bit shy and didn't want to act like they were listening in. And I was just sat on my desk like this,
Brilliant.
like obviously like admiration, listening to this fashion icon who's also from Nottingham, talk to the press. And then when he finished, as I say, he went to walk out, and I just went, "Oh, excuse me, Paul Smith, can I just ask you a question for a moment?"
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, I was like, he's not going. I've come specifically to speak to Paul Smith. There's no way that I'm not going to do that. So I shook his hand, and I asked him the question. He couldn't really answer it in a roundabout way, but what was really good was that somebody piped up and said, "Oh, why didn't you get on Knots TV? That would be good exposure." And I sort of made a joke about it. And I said, "Oh, trust me, I've tried. I've been on them loads of times, because in the summer I won, like Nottingham did like a little Dragon's Den thing."
Wow.
And I won it. And so I wanted to
Wow, congratulations.
I wanted to get a bit of PR from it on the telly.
Of course.
But they never got back to me. You know what it's like when you're chasing journalists and things down. So I said, "Oh yeah, I've been trying, and they won't bloody have me."
Well, keep trying. Yeah, keep trying.
From that, the presenter said afterwards, Paul Smith had gone by this point, and he said, "What were you trying to get on about?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, do you have somebody that can wear the top?" And I said, "Well, actually, my best friend's just had a baby." And he said, "Look, if you can get her on with the baby and the top, I'll interview you anytime. Here's my details." So I finally bagged my interview with Knots TV. And then another journalist from the Post came over, and she was like, "So what is it you're doing?" And I told her about my brand. And then another one of the I don't want to say mentors of the lab, he was like, "I've never seen you here before." And I said, "Oh yeah, I've only just come to see Paul Smith." And he was like, "Oh, one of those are you?" And I was like, "Wow, you've got to
paid off.
And he said, "Oh, well, if you ever want any help or support," he's like, "Oh, I've built up loads of businesses and small SMEs." And I said, "Well, yeah, but in what industry?" He said, "Oh, engineering." And I said, "Well, I don't want you to waste my time, David. Like, I'm not going to come if you can't help me." And he said, look, I get booked up really quickly, but if you want to see me, you can contact me out of hours and I'll see you." So literally from me meeting Paul Smith, one, it was fantastic. I got to meet such an influential guy in fashion and, pick his brains. Not that he quite answered it in the way I wanted him to, but never mind.
I would say what happened there is
opportunities from there, which was
because you showed up though, and I'd say people seen that you had the initiative to actually get in there and ask Paul Smith a question, so they thought that immediately created momentum in them going, "Hang on a second, she means business," So there you go. Like, another great part of being human in your business is letting go of fear, isn't it? Of holding yourself back.
I'm confident as
go
a
for it
anyway. But I felt, I don't want to say feel sorry, because that's not really the right terminology, but there was other people at the lab that work in fashion as well, not doing what I'm doing. They're not selling breastfeeding tops, but he had his designs there, and one guy was doing prints, and he had like his t-shirts and prints, and he was quite sort of like a shy, introverted person. And I think he brought them to show Paul Smith, because he was also sat where he was being interviewed. And then the other two guys that were on my table, they have like a fashion artisan sort of brand. They make more like bags and leather goods rather than actual garments. But they said to me after, "Oh, you're so brave. I really admire what you did just then. It was really impressive." And I thought, well, I just asked him a question.
He's human too,
And I said, he's just a normal man. Like, just because he's famous doesn't mean that you can't speak to him. And they were like, "Oh no, that was so brave." And I was like, well, you've got to grab the bull by the horns in these situations. And I just felt bad because I would imagine that they probably wanted to ask him something, but they didn't have the confidence to say it, and they're never going to have the opportunity again. You know, when is it they're ever going to come face to face with Paul Smith in their lifetime? Probably not. So yeah, I felt a bit like, it's a shame, isn't it? Because if they were probably a bit more confident and a bit more outgoing, they might have, you know, took that opportunity and learned something. But
opportunity dances with those on the dance floor for sure. So absolute kudos to you for doing that, you know, and remembering as well as a business owner that, hang on a second, Paul Smith is human too. I'm human. I can ask him a question. And look how that played out for you. Fair play.
From where I live, you know, came from just a normal background, and you know, he's got to where he's got today, but it doesn't mean that he's unapproachable.
I see a lot of, you know, so many people in business kind of get kerfuffled by that as well, and for asking for help, and because they think people are senior to them or above them and stuff. And I always say, you know, the minute we start putting people on pedestals, and I mean, I'm not saying that people expect this of them, you know, it's just sometimes we can think that way, but the minute we start putting people on pedestals, we're already thinking that they're looking down on us, and we'll never approach them, you know, and we'll never ask them for help. And I think that's really important to acknowledge that they're, you know, they're just human too. What have you got to lose by just asking a question? They might never get back to you. They might.
He could have put his two fingers up at me, which I very much doubt he would have done. You know, he's not the way inclined. But if he did, well, it don't matter. It's no skin off my nose.
I remember 3 years ago, I was considering writing and getting my writing part in the business off the ground, and I hadn't even set the business up at this stage, and I wanted to write for a publication, and I thought, you know, where will I go with this and who will I reach out to? So I did a bit of research, and Thrive Global, Ariana Huffington, were coming to the big bad world of the internet at that stage there. Ariana Huffington, I'm a big fan of hers. So I emailed her. I got her private email address, now it's on. And I took a chance and I said, I would love to write for Thrive Global. Can I please write you? And I was about 3 weeks waiting, and I didn't expect her to get back to me or whatever. As it turned out, you can go online and become a contributor anyway. But she personally responded to me 3 weeks later. So I have an email personally from her thanking me for sending, because I sent my personal story to her and, you know, what I would like to write about. And she read it and she got back to me and thanked me personally for sending my personal human story, and invited me to come onto the platform, and sent it through to one of her editors to, you know, set me up on Medium and stuff. I was like, but so I have that email framed and I go back to it some days when I fear of hitting send or publish or on anything that I do, and I think, come on, you have the balls like to email Ariana Huffington, get on with it, you know. But yeah, great story, Olivia, like, and has definitely worked to your benefit for being brave enough to do that and acknowledging that, Paul Smith, here's an opportunity. Let's dance on the dance floor. Listen, that is just an absolute wonderful high to finish on, and I really wanted to get that piece in to share for you. And if you get on obviously you're Knots TV is obviously a local TV station in Nottingham.
Very local, and I mean, I'm hoping to branch out and get more national coverage, Pauline, but it might be a while yet.
Good time, small steps. But you know, if you do get on that, do keep us informed and you know, let us know. That would be absolutely wonderful to hear, to share that news with us. So listen, I just want to ask you, give us the details again of the products, the website, and where we can find you.
So yeah, the brand is Lotus Maternity, and it's nursing wear for women to help them discreetly breastfeed in public. There are some other bits on there as well. I've got these really nice baby blankets, but the main brand is about the nursing wear. And the website is lotusmaternity.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Remember that, not .com, because that will send you to a different brand in Canada.co.uk. Yeah, you know, British brand, British manufacturing. So there you go. And my contact details, if anyone wants to get in touch, it's just enquiries at lotusmaternity.co.uk. And my contact number's on the website as well. So feel free to have a browse.
And you're on LinkedIn as well, under Olivia Swift.
as active on LinkedIn as I am on other platforms, just because I tend to find that my more mummy groups and things are more.
You're probably on Facebook as well. You're on Facebook then, are you? That would probably be a good area for you. Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, but as I say, Facebook's really my main one.
Yeah, we got to stay where what's best for us. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Anything else you want to add before we finish up, or?
No, not really. As I say, hopefully, if you want to read more about my story, as I say, there's a page on the website about me and why I wanted to develop the brand, and about my manufacturing, and everything that we're doing to try and do the best for mums, really.
Well, do you know what, just from talking to you here this morning, it's pretty evident that you're a woman on a mission. And I can connect with that, and so will many. And the values piece as well behind what you do, and the life experience through the midwifery and the gap that you've seen has really, really come together nicely for you to generate this nice, lovely little business, I have to say. And absolutely thrilled that I came across you and you came on here to speak to me. So very, very grateful for that. Olivia, absolute continued success with it all. And do keep in touch, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.